Previously on the last Pokemon Crystal SuperMON run. It is now the next day and I've just whacked myself over the head with a microphone. And coming up, very drunk in the Kimono Girls Dance Theatre last night. Welcome back to the SuperMON challenge. This is the challenge where we select a Pokemon, we give it 4 moves, and then we see just how far we can get through the challenge with those 4 moves. There are no resets, there are no redos, it is one attempt at glory. Now, STARMIE is the Pokemon we have chosen for the SuperMON challenge today. It is a very powerful Pokemon. Of course, it's one of the strongest Pokemon in Generation 1, so we'll have to see how it gets on. I'll pass you to the live run now for STARMIE. This is the first SuperMON challenge I'm recording after I've got some information about how the Pokemon runs on stream. We ran STARMIE on stream quite recently at the time of recording, but it might not be that recently when this video comes out. We got a lot of information from that run. We ended up going down to the Gyarados of all things, so I'm hoping that with the info I gained from that run, we'll be able to get much further. Now, we ended up with a learn set of Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam and Tri-Attack in that first run. We're going to do something similar this time, but we're not going to go for any physical attacks at all. So our first one is going to be Surf, if we can find it on the list. Then we will be going for Psychic. In fact, we have Psychic right here. Why don't we teach that first? And instead of Tri-Attack, we're going to go for Thunderbolt. We're going to go purely special on this one. So we've got Psychic, our next move will be Surf, which should just be here. Then we will go for Thunderbolt, and we will also go for Ice Beam. Ice Beam I think is necessary to get through Lance. I also think it will really help out at Clair. Thunderbolt's going to be very useful as well. So I'm hoping that all of these moves together will give us enough coverage to take down pretty much anything that comes in front of us. I am still worried about Red Snorlax though, if we do even get that far, because we are purely special attacking, and of course with Amnesia it can build up its bulk. But with Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, the learn set is complete. We'll take a look at our stats. Level 5 with 22 HP, holding the berry of course with Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam and Thunderbolt. We've got 14 in attack, 15 in defense, 16 in special attack, 15 in special defense and 18 in speed. I am very excited to have a second chance with STARMIE. I think we can get an awful lot further than what we did on stream. Now, one of the big differences between doing these runs on and off stream is that on stream I actively ask people for their advice, for their thoughts, for their instincts with the learn sets. Whereas when I do them on my own, it's all just coming from me, and that means there are totally different approaches to the same run. Sometimes we can look at a Pokemon and go for a really out there learn set, and other times we can just have what might be 4 very strong moves, which is the case for STARMIE on its second attempt. The Tri-Attack idea didn't really hold water in the end, but it was worth a go. And that's exactly what the streams are for. They are to get the info to then hopefully get a Pokemon even further when it comes to doing its edited down, pre-recorded challenge. And if you don't want to miss the streams, the best way to find out when I'm live is to, of course, subscribe to the channel and whack that notification bell while you're at it. Streams are always as and when I feel up to them. Sometimes they're very frequent. Other times there is a little bit of a gap if I need to have a little bit more rest. Or maybe I'm like what I'm doing today. I'm recording yet more SuperMON runs for later in the year. And now with Rival 1 defeated, we can start making our way back towards Elm's Lab. And I'm really starting to think where I think the roadblocks are going to be for this challenge. We're not going to be blocked by the Gyarados like we were on stream, because of course we have Thunderbolt, that's 4 times super effective, with 100 base special attack. And I don't think that Clair or Jasmine are going to be problematic in this particular run. Of course, Clair can go down to Ice Beam and Jasmine has Surf with her name on it. So I think we could get pretty far, quite far into the league. Of course, Karen will always pose a question that we may not have the answer to. But I think if we get through Karen, we've got a very good chance of getting all the way to blue and maybe even red. We've got exceptional coverage with our 4 moves, and I really cannot see where anything could go very wrong. We are slightly shy of the level cap as we are entering into Falconer's Gym, but I don't think that will be any issue at all. We're going to start off with an Ice Beam against the Spearow. We'll knock it out in one shot. And I have a feeling that that might be the vibe of this gym, you know. We're going to outspeed nearly everything, and it's going to be at most a two-shot, maybe on the Pidgeotto. I don't think anything else in here will stand even half a chance. So we will engage Falkner in battle. He is a flying-type specialist. He leads with Pidgey. And yes, it's a one-shot on the Pidgey, as we would expect. Is it a one-shot on the Pidgeotto? No, but we've frozen it. So an absolutely unnecessary freeze there, but we did get a damageless first gym. That gives us another 3 points on our score, getting us up to 5 points, and we also now have a level cap of 16. Our next destination is the very, very top of the Sprout Tower. It was an absolute breeze getting up here. Even Surf was one-shotting a lot of the lower-leveled Bellsprout, so we were able to save some PP. And that means that we didn't have to go into the Pokemon Center to heal, which might not mean anything for the run, but it saved me a little bit of time, so I was happy about that. We one-shot both of the Bellsprout, and then Ice Beam is hopefully going to one-shot the Hoot Hoot, getting us up to level 12, even before we've left Violet City. And remember, we have HM items here, and the Escape Rope is also a key item. That means that we don't have to worry about getting any of the HM friends, and it also means that we don't have to worry about getting Dig in National Park, because we cannot catch a single Pokemon at all in the course of this run. You can see we didn't get an egg there from Elmsade. There is absolutely no way of getting any more Pokemon. I have spent a little bit of time cleaning up this version of Pokemon Crystal, and I am very happy to say that the first version of the SuperMON patch is now available on the website trainersquidgy.com. That is where you can get the SuperMON patch, you can get the Challenge Run patch, you can get the Nuzlocke and Giftlock patch. That's where I put all of the back ports as well. And I have absolutely loved every second of coding this so far. There have been a few different roadblocks that have made it very interesting to code, but overall I think we've done a very good job, at least for a version 1 of the SuperMON patch. There are a few things I do want to try and iron out, like having a toggle to allow return and hidden power, because I know a lot of people would like to see at least return in these runs. I'm still sticking to my original rule of banning return entirely, but that is something I will try and add in as an option for later on, when people want to play the SuperMON patch. And if you do have a go, please do let me know who you're running and what you ended up with, what your learn set was, how far did you go, because that kind of thing is very, very interesting to me. With a challenge like this, because you're not against the clock, it is very much a lower entry of, at least experience-wise, to start getting these runs across the board. As long as you know roughly how to play Pokemon, I think you can have a much, much better time in learning how to do the SuperMON challenge versus, say, one of our timed runs, where you need to know the routing in order to get particularly good times. I said it a lot during our timed runs, and I think it's even more pertinent here. There is no right or wrong way to do a SuperMON challenge. As long as you're having fun, and as long as you're happy with how far you got, that is all that matters, and I'm taking that mantra into the SuperMON runs for absolute sure. We've seen already a couple of Pokemon that didn't make it anywhere close to the finishing line, but I think they had very good runs. Both of the runs I'm thinking of had a lot of luck involved to get them as far as they did, so that just made me happy that at least we got to the stages that we did with those two runs. I won't tell you which two runs in case you haven't seen them and you would like to go and watch them. And do remember, all of the SuperMON runs are in one big playlist here on the channel. And if you want to see them early, you can always join the HM Friends and become a channel member. Because literally, as soon as the video is done and I've given it a quick watch through to make sure I've not said any naughty words or anything, it will go up onto YouTube. Doesn't matter how far in advance it is, it will always just go up so that you can see it and you can start maybe dissecting what I've done a little bit earlier than you would otherwise be able to. And seeing as we are in Azalea Town, the traditional home of the HM Friends, I will take this opportunity to not only thank Kenya, Abra, Psyduck and Paris, our timed run HM Friends, I will also thank all of you who have joined the HM Friends over the last few weeks. Your support really does mean a lot. Now, turning our attention back to STARMIE here, I don't think that Team Rocket is going to prove any problem at all. They have a couple of dark types on their parties, but even those, they've got Murkrow, which is weak to Ice Beam, and they've got Houndoom and Houndour, which are both weak to Surf. Our coverage is very, very strong in this run, so I really think we're going to get very, very far. We've got 115 in speed, so nothing's going to outspeed us, and we've got 100 in special attack. That's going to be more than cromulent to take us very, very far through this game. Now that did give us an extra point there, completing Slowpoke well, so we are up to 6 points. Remember, we are on a more up-to-date scoring system than when we first started the challenges. We have 100 points available now. It is 1 point for 4 different parts of the storyline. We've got Slowpoke Well, the Kimono Girls, Mahogany Underground, and Radio Tower. All the rival battles gives 2 points apiece. Then the gym leaders will give 3 points, except Blue, who gives 5 because he's the last and hardest gym leader. The Elite Four will give us 4 points, and then both Red and Lance give us 10. And those, even though it was very quickly raced through, do add up to 100. So 100 is the key to being a SuperMON. And our next step towards being a SuperMON is to take on Bugsy, second gym leader. He is a bug-type specialist, leads with Metapod. And I'd be worried if Fury Cutter wasn't such a terrible move. It's super effective, but it didn't do much damage at all. And we can also Surf on the Kakuna there. And that gets us up to 9 points. That is another glorious 3 points for our STARMIE. And we can now try and get another 2 points by defeating Rival 2. This time he's going to lead with Ghastly. We'll use Surf because any of our moves really would one-shot. We will go to Ice Beam, however, for the Bayleaf. It growls at us, but we have no physical attacks, so that doesn't really mean anything. Choice of moves for the Zubat, anything would one-shot probably. So that was a nice and easy Rival 2, getting us up to 11 points and giving us access to the Ilex Forest. Here in the forest we are, of course, going to return a bird to its human, as we always do, to get the Scythe, and we will make our way further through the forest now as well. We will say hello to the green head man staring at the tree. We'll say hello to him from this side of the ledge. Although he didn't seem to turn back at us. Maybe he's annoyed at us because we're not getting headbutts, at least at the moment, from him. Maybe there'll come a day where we can find some use for him in a SuperMON run, but for now he's just going to have to stay staring at that tree a little bit longer. So we have now made it to Goldenrod City, where we will go and grab the bike. Some things do change, like us not getting headbutt anymore, but other things don't change. We're still going to get the bike, because I still like having that very, very fast movement speed. I am still getting used to having all of the field move items in the key items pocket though, and that's meaning that my menuing isn't quite as efficient as it is on the timed runs. And as always, we are now going to go straight into the underground because we want to pick up the coin case. In case you have missed any of the SuperMON runs, first of all, where have you been? I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're going to stay around longer. But secondly, we have replaced all of the field moves with equivalent items. They all go into the key items pocket, and that includes teleports with Abra. We may not have an Abra on our team anymore, however, we can go down and grab the coin case and then go back up to the game corner, which is just around here, and we will go to the reception desk and we will see, take this rental Abra off our hands. There we go, it won't count towards the party of 6, and we can move on. Now, it did say there that you could buy Pokemon. That has been updated in the version you will be playing, but I started this challenge on an older version of the SuperMON patch, so I didn't want to risk it. And now, we don't actually need anything in National Park at all today, because we don't pick up the Dig TM, but I'm always going to take that shortcut, just so that we don't have to deal with that single bug catcher, plus the big load of grass that gets in the way there. We will take advantage of this Tangler having no special defense either to get some lovely defensive stat experience. We have a chat with Floria, and here is where the Rental Abra comes into its own, because we go all the way back to Goldenrod. And I don't think there's anything else on our to-do list here in Goldenrod, so that means we can enter the gym. And now, having dealt with Lascaris, providing that Whitney's Clefairy isn't a bomb, I think we'll have a very good time. She leads with Clefairy. We use Surf, it double slaps us, hits us 4 times, so that was a quadruple slap actually. And we are on to the Miltank. We'll just use Surf against the Miltank as she locks herself into rollout. Nothing she could do there to get the victory. She has a little cry, but then she does give us our next badge, the plain badge, and another set of points, getting us up to 14 points for Whitney's badge. And now we're well on the way to Ecruteak City. We picked up the squirt bottle from the eavesdropping so-and-so, beat up the pseudo-widow, and we've just got ourselves the big hammer. That means that we can break any rocks. And I've been doing a little bit of thinking, and it's amazing how much of a difference the two different styles of solo running we do here on the channel, the SuperMON runs and the timed runs, make to the routing that we do throughout the game. Because of course in the timed runs, we go for the most efficient routing at all times, and we try and get the fastest way through each particular gym battle. However, in these types of runs, I'm more considering the experience we're getting. And I'm thinking, should we battle these pre or post a gym leader, or pre or post something else, so that we can make the most of the experience and get higher up the level cap? For instance, in solo runs, we'd quite often, or should I say in timed runs, we'd quite often leave the kimono girls until quite late on. However, in this run, I think it's much more suitable to try and get the earlier experience, and we'll hold off on some of the trainers between Olivine and Ecruteak until after we've taken on Morty. And then that routing changes again depending on what experience group we're in. Right now we're in the slow experience group, and that means we have to do a few extra battles in order to get up to our level cap. And that's where trainers like Miller come into the equation. Miller is brilliant for experience. He's got 2 fully evolved Pokemon, and that means he's far better to take on than the guy standing outside of Mount Mortar with the Nidorina and the Nidorino, who don't have fully evolved Pokemon, therefore not as worth taking on. We can get even more experience as well from Pokemaniac Ron. He has just a single Nidoking at level 19, but again, even in the slow experience group, he's getting us up an awful lot closer to our level cap. We can easily engage Pokemaniac Ben in battle as well. We've got Thunderbolts for his Slowbro. It's a nice one-shot, and once again, fully evolved Pokemon saving the day. I also tend to ignore repels in the early parts of this challenge, while the wild Pokemon can still give us some decent experience, although that Centric probably isn't worth it. And this trainer would never take him on in a timed run, but he does have 2 Gyarados, so they're not only going to give us a lot of experience, they're going to give us a lot of stat experience, and in fact, it's against this Fisher that we do reach the next level cap. So we will say thank you to Marvin and his fish for getting us up to level 25. And some things never change, we're still going to grab this rare candy just near the Lake of Rage. We have no need to teach Hidden Power as a TM, but it is still good to sell for money. So we will make our way through this little hedge maze, giving us hints of Viridian Forest over in Kanto in Generation 2. It's like they designed the Viridian hedge maze and thought we should make another one of these in Johto. So we'll get Detect again to sell for money, and we'll say hello to the Hidden Power man. Once again, we're not going to teach it, but we are going to sell it for a little bit of money. We'll take the Rentalabra back, and oh dear, we're in Goldenrod. I must have forgotten to dip my head in Ecruteak's Pokemon Center. That would have been a run-ender on a time challenge, but we'll make the best of it here, because we can just buy another vitamin. I've been focusing on calcium to get us started here in this challenge. This is our 3rd calcium going into Starmie. And now I will cycle all the way back. I'll do the Cycle of Shame back to Ecruteak, and we'll go into the Burnt Tower. So here we are back in Ecruteak. We're going to make our way into the Pokemon Center. You can see Bill there coming out. It's Sunday morning at the moment. He was very drunk in the Kimono Girls Dance Theatre last night, nursing a hangover. Had a little bit of a stay with Nurse Joy overnight as well. I won't give you the sordid details, but that is why. He is making his excuses and leaving straight away. We will ignore him, we will pretend that we haven't seen him, we'll keep his dignity intact, and we will go into the Burnt Tower now and take on rival number 3. This time the rival is going to lead with Haunter. We'll outspeed it and we'll use Surf and we'll knock it out in 1. Magnemite is next. It's got no Spadef, so Surf is more than cromulent enough. We almost but not quite one-shot the Bayleaf. He sets up Reflect and that's meaningless. He's got a Zubat as well. Again, it means nothing. We defeat him and we fall through the floor, and we will say hello to the legendary beasts. We will release them. They are free from the Burnt Tower. We'll use the escape rope that's hiding somewhere in the bag to grab the HP up that we'll either use for Karen or more likely sell for some more vitamin money. and we can take on Morty next. Morty, of course, is a dual ghost and poison spectacular gym leader, and he leads with Ghastly. We have Psychic, we have Great Speed, we have even greater special attack. Well, actually, the speed's greater than the special attack, but let's not ruin the moments here, because it's going to be a set of one-shots for Morty. Didn't even need to worry about getting the Minceberry to get us here. That's 20 points obtained, along with a Fog Badge. And now we can start heading towards Olivine for the first time in this challenge. We haven't seen this route at all yet, which is kind of weird, because normally we at least go and grab the Mintberry. Did you know there are only 2 Minceberries across the entirety of Pokemon Crystal? There's one here, and then I think the other one is all the way in Pewter City over in Kanto. So if we can hold on to it, that is very, very strong. I'm thinking especially for Will, because Will is a Psychic type specialist, much like us, but his Jinx could end up sending us to sleep because we have just special attacks. So grabbing it now and preparing for much later is probably a very good idea. We shall have to see if I remember the existence of the Minceberry. By the time we get up to Will, it is still a very, very long way away. So the chances are I will have forgotten about this strategy by the time we get there. We do, of course, now have to start ascending the Lighthouse, and I'm hoping that with all of these trainers in here, the majority of which have a weakness to electric, we will be able to get up to our next level cap. I still have my grudges against Gentleman Preston as well, and one of the very first challenges we did, I ended up having to take a reset of the entire run, because no matter what I tried, his flipping Growlithe would not stop roaring at us and wasting so much time. It's well over 3 years after that event, and I am still so salty with him. It's such a little thing that really just got on my nerves, but I'm refusing to let it go. I will bear that grudge for the rest of my days against Gentleman Preston. Him, Karen likes to roar, and then Blue loves to roar as well sometimes. Those in the timed runs are the bane of my existence, because I can deal with a lot of other things, but if you're just not going to be able to one-shot a Pokemon for ages, and it wants to roar to get rid of you, there's not much I can do to try and prevent it. I've just got to try and hope for a critical hit, or some other way to prevent it from roaring in the first place, because if I can't one-shot it, the chances are it is going to go for roar. Anyway, that's enough of that rant. We're still not at the level cap, but I'm thinking might be worth going into Chuck slightly under-leveled anyway, because then we can gain the extra levels in the rocket section. Yeah, that is what we're going to do in the end. We're going to be probably just shy of level 29, or maybe slightly into level 29, by the time we take on Chuck, depending on how much these pair of Mankey Primeape give us. That Primeape has got us up to 29, so we're going to be very close to the level cap regardless, but we can still make the most, hopefully, of this battle by gaining some experience points. So this is Chuck, Gym Leader number 5, leads with Primeape. We one-shot the Primeape, so we are on to the Poliwrath. We'll use Psychic, he's used Dynamic Punch, so we are confused, but we hit through it on our first attempt, and we defeat Chuck to obtain the Storm Badge. That gets us up to 23 points, it boosts our level cap by 1, and now we can chat with Chuck's wife to get the air balloon, and we have free reign of most of Johto. And now I am going to take great pleasure in this battle. This is the Gyarados that ended the first STARMIE challenge, so we are going to take it out in one shot courtesy of Thunderbolt. We obtain the red scale, we'll have a little chat with Lance. We will say we don't care if you're a flying type specialist. We are very happy to have just beaten up a shiny Gyarados. And now we're going to move on and take on our next gym leader, and it's actually going to be Jazz who we face next. I think because we've got the water type and we're holding on to the Mystic Water, we should have a fairly easy time against her. That will open up the level cap even higher, and it means we will get all of that delicious experience from the rockets without needing to worry about any of it going to waste. It's a one-shot on her Magnemite, she sends out another and it's going to be a one-shot. And now the question is, do we one-shot the Steelix? And the answer is, of course we do. Steelix has no special defense whatsoever. We get our next badge, we get another 3 points, and look at that. The level cap is now all the way up to level 40. And now if you're wondering just how many levels you can gain in the slow experience group starting at level 31 here in the Mahogany Underground, it's about 2 and a bit. It's not really worth it at all. But anyway, we do get another point courtesy of Lance there for defeating all of the rockets inside of here. We'll get ourselves out and we will equip the magnet in preparation for our 7th gym. This is Morty's Ice-type gym, although he does feel like a dual water and Ice-type gym at times. And we have just Border Douglas to get through. He's going to give us a lot of defensive stat experience and also a fair amount of special attacking stat experience at the cost of just battling 3 Pokemon there. We can get through him and we can now take on Price himself. He is our 7th gym leader and Ice-type specialist leads with Seal. We've got Thunderbolt for the Seal, we'll take it down in 1. Dugong's up next. Is the Magnet going to make it a one-shot? Ooh, possibly a range. Doesn't matter, we knock it out on turn 2 regardless. And then we have Surf for the Piloswine. A very, very simple gym battle there. Glacier Badge acquired, taking us all the way up to 30 points. And we can now leave. And we've got the dreaded Rocket Radio Tower coming up next. Now, I'm not mean enough to make you sit through all of the Radio Tower. However, I do just want to draw your attention to this PP up that comes in very handy for SuperMON challenges. We'll use that on Psychic. And we do have to now, unfortunately, do the Rival 4 battles. We've got no choice. It does give us points, and it is part of the challenge, as much as we don't want to do it because it is a big waste of time. But we will now engage him in battle. He is the 4th and penultimate regular rival battle of the challenge, and he leads this time with Golbat. We'll use Thunderbolt, we'll take it down in 1 as we grow up to level 39. Up next is going to be Magnemite. We will use Surf on the Magnemite, guarantee the one-shot. We'll Surf over the Sneasel as well, and that brings us on to Meganium. We're holding the Nevermelt Ice, and that does make Ice Beam a guaranteed one-shot. We'll Ice Beam the Haunter as well, just because we can. And that was a nice and simple Rival 4. We have just 1 rocket left to go now in the whole Radio Tower sequence. It is the very final executive. He's got a pair of Houndoom, well, a Houndour and a Houndoom, I should say, as well as a Coughing, so this should be a very easy battle. 3 Surfs disposes of him, and Team Rocket once and for all. And that means we get an extra point to our name as well for completing this very tedious section. I am very glad it's done as we go up to 33 points. We can leave and we never have to think about Team Rocket again, at least for the course of this challenge. Now, one thing I have noticed actually about the SuperMON challenge is special attackers are tending to do a lot better than physical attackers, and that is the complete opposite to when we do our timed challenge runs. And I've got a feeling it's because a lot of the very, very strong special attacking moves are locked to the post game. I'm talking moves like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Psychic. They are all locked behind the Pokémon League, so those special attackers, if they don't learn Surf, are going to have to wait a very long time for their high base powered moves. You compare that with physical attackers, and you get a lot of very strong physical attacking moves, both via Level Up and via TM or Tutor earlier on in the challenge. Goodness me, you get Headbutt after 2 badges, you get Return fairly early on as well, and those 2 moves in general are enough to get you through most of Johto. You get Earthquake before Rival 5 as well, so really you've got an awful lot more choice for your strong physical moves compared to your strong special move. Maybe it is just me noticing a pattern because of the Pokemon I've picked out so far, but that definitely does seem to be the case. Let me know if you think there are any strong physical attacking Pokemon that you think would do well in this challenge though, as we now take on Clair. She is our final Johtonian gym leader, a Dragon-type specialist, leads with Dragonair. We'll use Ice Beam on all of the Dragonair, it's absolutely going to be a one-shot, and we will be able to then turn our attention over to the pesky Kingdra. We've got a lot of moves that will run neutral, the only one that won't is going to be Surf, and I think out of them all we will just try a pair of Psychic. Oh goodness me, we critical hit there. That does mean that we are going to be potentially getting Clair caught in a healing loop. That could have gone badly, you know, because we could have been in a situation where Clair healed, kept lowering our accuracy and we went down. Thank goodness that didn't happen. We have now beaten up Darren, getting our last battle done here in Johto. And we can answer this very, very brief survey. That will trigger Clair to come into the Dragon's Den. And once again, she is as shocked as she ever is that we know the answers to that survey and she doesn't. She's going to have to give us a bunch of points for that. And, of course, an increase of 2 levels to our level cap. She's going to give us halitosis that we will sell for some money. And now we are well on our way towards the Pokémon League. We're going to pick up the ladder. That is our replacement for Waterfall. And we'll take on a few trainers en route towards the final rival battle. I like this place for getting some experience, especially in SuperMON, because there are a lot of trainers with actually half-decent Pokémon. They're not great, they're not the highest leveled, but as we know in Generation 2 games, we take what we can get for experience. The level curve is very, very, very janky in vanilla Pokémon Crystal. And that reminds me, I'm actually starting to work on the ROM hack that I was working on with somebody a couple of years ago. It did fall apart, unfortunately, but I have resurrected the files. I've got it back in a working state, and I am now going to try and do the arduous task of fixing the Johto level curve while trying to not make it obnoxiously difficult either. It's very, very, very much a fine line between having a tough game and an obnoxious game, and it's one of those, if you find the right balance, the hack will be incredibly fun, but if you don't find the right balance, then it's going to become a bit of a chore. And I have a ROM hacking Discord server as well, where I try and give advice as best I can for the limited knowledge that I have with Generation 2 ROM hacking, and I've been going through showing off some of the features, and it made me realise just how much work was put in, and I don't want to lose all that work for the project, because I'm very proud, and this is me, with all of my confidence issues, saying I'm very proud of something I have done. But I think I did some very, very impressive stuff in the Gen 2 engine, and I'm looking forward to getting that project all finished off. With that, we have made it into Victory Road for yet another challenge. We have gotten much further than we did on our first attempt with STARMIE, although to be fair, that first attempt with STARMIE was not anywhere near an accurate reflection of STARMIE's capabilities. We've got one last rival battle to take care of. He's going to be a breeze, as he always is. I can't imagine any of his Pokemon putting up any resistance whatsoever. We one-shot the Meganium, that's probably the most dangerous of all of them. We'll get rid of the Haunter, we'll also get rid of the Kadabra. Oh goodness me, that was a range. That was mildly terrifying. We will have to surf and hope for the best on this Kadabra. It's all going wrong. Goodness me. Surf, one shot. Oh, there was me getting overconfident. I don't know what possessed me to think that Thunderbolt was going to one-shot. I think I was in solo timed running kind of mode there, thinking, well, we're already over that move. It's likely to one-shot. Let's just give it a go and hope for the best, because that does work in solo running for the time challenges, because at least then, the worst that happens is you take a reset. That could have been curtains for STARMIE, and it would have all been my fault. After that, I have taken a little breather. I've remembered to equip the Mint Berry as well, that we spoke about a lot earlier on in this challenge, and I'm trying to think about the Pokémon League and think about who's going to be problematic and who's going to be easy. We start off with Will. He's a Psychic type specialist like us. I think we've got good coverage for most of his Pokemon. The Jinx is probably the most concerning out of the lot. Then we move on to Koga. Koga's a Poison type specialist. We're Psychic. We're fine. Even the Fortress will take 2 turns to knock out, and it'll probably set up spikes and do absolutely nothing else. Bruno, he's a Fighting type specialist. We've got Psychic again for him, plus we've got Surf for his Onix. Karen, I think, could be pesky. It all depends on how much damage we can do to her Umbreon. If we don't get stand attacked by the Umbreon, we should be in for a fairly easy ride, because then we've got super effective moves for the rest of her team, and Lance will be a breeze. We've got Ice Beam, we've got Thunderbolt, we've got Surf. There's absolutely nothing Lance can do to get us knocked out. Now, we'll take a look at our stats before going into the league. We're level 42 with 122 HP. holding the Minceberry with Surf, Thunderbolt, Psychic and Ice Beam. 82 in attack, 107 in defense, 121 in special attack, 108 in special defense, and 128 in speed. Now, one thing I neglected to mention is we have 0 DV in our attack, and that might have saved our bacon actually against that last rival battle. I knew we weren't going to go for any physical attacks on this run, so I dropped our physical attack down to 0. In the event of us getting confused then, we don't take as much damage. And with all that out the way, we'll take Will on. He is our first League member. He is a Psychic type specialist who leads with Xatu. We will use Thunderbolt against the Xatu, we knock it out in 1, so he sends out Executor next. We're going to use Ice Beam and hope that it one-shots. We crit, so we'll never know if that was a natural one-shot. We'll use Ice Beam against the second Xatu because that is slightly higher power than Thunderbolt's courtesy of Price's badge boost. Jinx doesn't even try to send us to sleep, so we didn't need to worry about her after all. And then Slowbro goes for Amnesia. Very simple Will. That gets us another set of points on the board, getting us up to 44. Let us now take on Koga. He is our second League member. Psychic type specialist, leads with Ariados. We're going to one-shot the Ariados with Psychic. He sends out Fortress second. We'll use a pair of Surfs. Against the Fortress, there are the spikes that I alluded to earlier. Muck is third. Now, Muck possibly won't go down in one shot. He uses Minimalize, but we do hit, so we don't need to worry any more about the Muck. Psychic's our best chance against the Crobat. It goes down in 1. Last up is Venomoth. We will use another Psychic. We grow up to level 43, and we get our new level cap of 46. I've decided to use some rare candies now in front of Bruno, not because I think we need the extra levels, but we were very close to the beginning of a level anyway, after defeating Koga. We're going to one-shot Hitmontop with Psychic. It's going to be the same against the Hitmonchan, and it will inevitably be the same against the Hitmonlee as well. Now, we could take some damage from this Machamp if we don't one-shot it, so we'll just have to one-shot it. That's how we get through Machamp. We'll Surf on the Onix, and that was just as expected as well. Bruno not causing us any issues at all. We'll now use one rare candy in front of Karen. We will use our HP up wherever that is hiding in the bag. We will double check, yes, that has worked this time. And we will also hold on to the Bitterberry. Now, Karen is probably our last realistic chance of going down for quite some time. She does, of course, lead with this Umbreon. We critical hit the Umbreon, but Sand Attack has hit. She's going into Feint Attack, but we are on 100 HP for the rest of the battle. We'll Thunderbolt the Murkrow. Out comes the Vileplume, and we will use Psychic. Thank goodness that Psychic hit. It meant that we aren't going to have to worry so much about being paralysed, but we have been cursed. Surf has connected on the Houndoom though, so we don't need to fret anymore. We just about get through Karen. That could have gone all different kinds of wrong. We just got very, very, very lucky there that Sand Attack didn't affect us as much as it otherwise could have done. Let's now engage Lance in battle. I can't see him being any issue at all. We'll start with a Thunderbolt on the Gyarados. It will go down in 1. Then he's going to send out his Dragonites. We have Ice Beam for the Dragonite. It's quad super effective. So we know absolutely 100% for sure that we are not getting damaged by any of the 3 Dragonite. Next, he has his 2 Pokemon weak to water. So we will use Surf against the Charizard as we grow up to level 49. And we will use Surf against the Aerodactyl. We finish him off, we defeat Lance, and we get ourselves into the Hall of Fame. We now have 64 points on the board. We are 9 levels below our level cap, so we've got plenty of battles that we can be getting on with in Kanto, and we get our record in the Hall of Fame. This is, of course, only half of the story, though. There's still potentially another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we are rejoining the action as we always do here in Vermilion City. Now, while we take on the Kanto storyline, I have had a little bit of inspiration from what we were talking about just before the Pokémon League. We were talking about how physical attackers have a better time in time challenge runs than special attackers, and we think that's because the special attacks that are actually good in this game are locked behind post-game, And that's got me thinking, what if we combined SuperMON and our timed challenges a little bit? So we will still stick with the regular time challenge rules, like we can reset and we can brute force as much as we like, but we use the move rules from SuperMON. So we pick 4 moves at the very beginning of the challenge and we see just how quickly we can defeat the game. I think that will give a lot of special attackers, I'm thinking Pokemon like STARMIE actually, a much better chance of getting a very quick finishing time. I would also keep the ban on hidden power, but I would allow return, especially for the normal types. And the more I think about it, the more I do want to take on this challenge, because if we do look at the regular leaderboard for timed runs, it is very lopsided, with physical attackers taking up the majority of the top half of the leaderboard when you compare it to special attackers. So this could be a good way of evening the odds for the special attacking Pokemon and give them a better chance at getting some times that are not only respectable but maybe even impressive. Because if you look at a Pokemon, and I'm going to use STARMIE again as an example here, but if you look at a Pokemon like STARMIE's stats, its finishing time for the timed run just isn't matching up with what we know STARMIE is capable of. We ran STARMIE back in October 2023 and we got a finishing time of 1:48.59 back then, which admittedly I wasn't as good at the game as I am today, but even then, getting nearly 1 hour and 50 minutes just is not right for STARMIE. So I think it would be a very, very good idea to at least give it a go. If it hits with us all, it's brilliant. If it doesn't hit with us all, well, at least we gave it a try. There is the old saying, you miss all of the shots that you don't take, and that's kind of the attitude I'm taking towards challenge running at the moment. I do love solo timed running. It will never ever be fully replaced by anything else, but I've had too much of a good thing with the classic formula at the moment, so mixing it up as best as we can is a very good idea. Some things never change though, and taking on 3Drill and being incredibly grateful for the levels 3Drill gives us is one of those things. He is, of course, one of the biggest friends of the channel, and it's very nice to have been taking him on today. And while we're in Pewter City, we will go and do Brock's gym. Brock is a very easy gym leader for us. We've got Surf for the rock grounds, we've got Thunderbolt for the rock waters, so we have super effective coverage for everything. So let's take him on. He is our first Kantonian gym leader. He is a rock type specialist. Leads with Graveler. So one hit on the Graveler as we would expect. Omastar comes out. We'll use Thunderbolt just to guarantee the one shot, although I'm fairly certain that Surf would take out both of these as well. We'll swap back to Surf for the Rhyhorn, and he's only got his Onix left to go. And would you believe, it's another one shot. That is Brock defeated our first Kantonian points, taking us up to 67. So please do let me know if there are any Pokemon that you want to take on the hybrid SuperMON timed format. I don't think I'll want to be focusing on some of the Pokemon towards the top of the leaderboard at least straight away. I'd be wanting to use it as a second chance for Pokemon who definitely underperformed compared to what we would expect. Let's now take on Blaine, seeing as we're in the neighbourhood. He doesn't have a fly point, he's a fire-type specialist, and he's generally weak all around, because this is another set of 3 points that will be incredibly free for us. And then we'll go over to Fuchsia next as well to take on Janine, mostly because she's so far out of the way, and also because she is, of course, the lowest leveled of all of the Kantonian gym leaders. She's still a bit of a newbie, she's still trying to find her feet. She did get the job courtesy of her father Koga, so we will show her just what our little starfish can do. This is Janine, the Poison-type specialist, our third Kantonian gym leader, and she leads with Crobat. We're not going to hold back either. Even though she's a new gym leader, we are going to be using our super effective moves against her, just to show the calibre of Pokemon that she can expect to come up against, seeing as she has taken on the role of gym leader here in Kanto. It's going to be a one-shot on this Weezing to finish her off, and that is another 3 points, getting us up to 73. We are almost 3/4 of the way there in terms of our points. And talking of points, we're now at another decision point with who to face next. We've got Misty, Erica, Surge, Sabrina and Blue left to go. and I reckon Misty is going to be our next Kantonian gym leader. She is a water-type specialist much like us, but she doesn't have anywhere near as much coverage as we do. So we'll start off with a Thunderbolt against the Golduck. Here comes her own STARMIE. We'll use Thunderbolt yet again. It's very weird she sent STARMIE out second, actually. We will swap to Psychic for the Quagsire. That will do an awful lot of damage. And then we're probably going to two-shot this Lapras. We'll start with the Thunderbolts. Blizzard did not freeze us, and we have defeated Misty. That's the Cascade badge acquired, and we can get out of here and take on another gym leader. Before we take our next one on, we are now at level 54, and we have 4 rare candies, so we can get ourselves up to Blue's level cap. There's no sense in trying to grind out the extra levels when we already have the rare candies that will get us there automatically. So that will just save a little bit of effort. You never know, it might get rid of 1 or 2 rangers as well. We'll do a heal here in Celadon City, because I reckon Erica is going to be our next gym leader. We have Ice Beam at the very top of the learn set anyway, and we can use PP up to increase our probably Psychic PP. Get Psychic up to the maximum. I don't think we'll need 12 Ice Beams for anything. Although you never know, I might be regretting that if we can't get through Red Snorlax. Now, Erica's one of those pesky Kantonian gym leaders who actually bothered having a bunch of mandatory trainers between her and the start of the gym. Most of the gyms in Kanto, you can get away with battling either one person or nothing at all, but Erica, she said, no, I've got to have 3 people guarding my grass gym, 4 if you take on full trainers in here. And I don't quite understand why myself, because they're not high-leveled. They're just, if anything, a little bit of a pest between you and your end goal of facing Erica. But we have now got through them, and we can take her on. She's a grass-type specialist, and that would worry me if grass was a good typing in this generation, but it really isn't. The strongest powered move she's got is Solar Beam, and that's a 2-turn move. The second strongest power move that she has is Giga Drain, and that really isn't very strong at all. We take no damage from Erica, so she needs to go back to the drawing board, maybe make some better decisions in life and not become a grass-type leader. That now leaves us with just 3 gym leaders left. We've got Surge, we've got Sabrina, and we have Blue. And out of the 3 of them, I think we take on Sabrina next. She should be fairly easy, even if we are going to be running just special attacks against her. We will, however, hold on to the Mystic Water, just in case it gives us a slightly better chance in battle, and we'll take her on. This is Sabrina. She is our 6th Kantonian gym leader, and she leads with Espeon. We'll surf on the Espeon, we take it down in 1. Mr. Mime is next. We get rid of it in 1 as well, and I think it's going to be another one-shot against Alakazam. A very, very simple battle there to get us our next set of 3 points, taking us up to 82 points in total. Now that does mean we are going to take on Lieutenant Surge next. He's another pesky gym leader with somebody guarding him, but I think we've left him late enough that we won't be having any issues at all, neither with Gregory nor with Surge himself. He's got a Pikachu and a Fluffy, that's very cute for him, but we will get rid of them with 2 Surfs apiece, and we will take on Surge. Surge is of course the electric type specialist here in Vermilion City, and he leads with Raichu. Surf is a one-shot on the Raichu as we would expect. It's going to be a one-shot on the Magneton as well, and here comes Electabuzz. If any Pokemon was going to withstand a Surf, it would have been Electabuzz. We are nippier than even his very nippy Electrode, so we will finish off his last 2 Pokemon. We obtain the Thunder Badge, and we can get out of here with just 1 gym left to go. And that gym, of course, is Blue's final gym. He lives here in Viridian City. He's a mixed-type specialist who leads with Pidgeot. We're holding the leftovers for this battle. I don't think we'll need them, but it is a nice bit of insurance. We one-shot the Pidgeot onto the Executor we go. We high roll there. I think that was a range against the Executor, and he brings out his Alakazam. Alakazam hits us with Psychic, but because we resist it, it does nothing at all. And we can move on to Gyarados. Quad super effective Thunderbolt to the face for Gyarados, and then it's a quad super effective Surf to the face for Rhydon. We will continue our surfing ways against the Arcanine as it tries to extreme speed us, And we have got all 16 gym badges acquired, taking us up to 90 points. Blue did give us a candy jar, so I have taken the opportunity to get us all the way up to level 81, our new level cap. In case you aren't familiar, we do get the candy jar after we have defeated our final gym leader, just so that we don't have to worry so much about grinding for red. It would not make for interesting content. Getting all the way up to the level cap, the stat experience would also make red even easier than he could otherwise potentially be. So it is just one of those happy compromises where we've done the main legwork, we've done all the grinding we needed to do to get all the gym badges, and now we get a little reward with a candy jar right at the very end of the challenge. It's something that I think we are all in agreement with. It is a good idea to have as opposed to not have, because really, who wants to see a bunch of grinding through the Elite Four time and time again for us to only then lose potentially to red? And before taking on red, I think it's worth thinking of the potential permutations of how this red battle will go. We're water psychic, so he's going to lead with Pikachu. We are going to outspeed, and I think it's highly likely we will one-shot the Pikachu. Then he's likely to send out his Espeon next, probably set up Reflect and go for Surf there. We don't need to worry about Reflect because we're special, so we can two-shot probably the Espeon. Then it's the Snorlax. If any Pokemon is going to go wrong, it's going to be this Snorlax. He will hit us hard with Body Slam, and he will be very defensive against our special moves. I'm not sure whether to fish for the freeze yet against the Snorlax, or whether to just try brute forcing. You never know, we'll see when we get to it. If we get past the Snorlax, we've got the 3 Gen 1 starters left to go. We know that we'll be able to take care of Venusaur because we've got Psychic, and that'll be super effective Stab. We've got super effective Stab for the Charizard as well in the form of Surf. And then we do have a super effective move with Thunderbolt for the Blastoise. However, the Blastoise could go for Blizzard and he could freeze us. There's still a lot that could go wrong even if we get past the Snorlax. But that's enough faffing, let's do it. It's time to find out whether STARMIE is a SuperMON. Red leads with Pikachu, rather not Pidgeot, that was blue. We knock it out in one and we are on to Espeon. We use Surf there to reflect as we thought would happen, and here is Snorlax. Right, how much does Psychic do, and can we get a Spadef drop? The answer is no, and also not a lot. He's getting to Body Slamming now. He's sent himself to sleep. We are going to spam Psychic in the hopes of getting a Spadef drop. However, it's not looking good for STARMIE at this particular juncture. If we can get through unparalysed, we still are in with a good shout. There is a critical hit, actually. Goodness me. Let's reframe ourselves. We'll use Psychic against the Venusaur. We should take it out in one. Next up is Blastoise. Right, Thunderbolt time for Blastoise. How much does it do? Quite a bit, and he didn't go for Blizzard. This is perfect. We have another SuperMON on our hands. We got through the one Pokemon we needed to get through, and that is Red defeated, and STARMIE is a SuperMON. I've put STARMIE in top spot here because I think it had an even easier run than Lapras. There was nowhere where STARMIE struggled at all. It aced Karen, it aced Red, and it got itself a very, very well-deserved place on our SuperMON leaderboard. It does mean as well we have had 4 SuperMONs versus 2 Pokemon that couldn't make it all the way through. We're going to have to change that in the next one and maybe see about taking on a tougher challenge once more. But with this one, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you've enjoyed this run, please do click the like button. Click subscribe if you never want to miss a SuperMON run. If you want to get access to them earlier, you can always become a channel member and join the HM Friends. But until next time, I will say thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.